Lars orders a love doll from the internet, names her Bianca, and introduces her to his family as his girlfriend. And this film is something special because the town doesn't laugh at Lars and they don't stage an intervention. They just go along with it. And that decision to hold someone in their delusion rather than force them out of it turns out to be quite therapeutic. Hi, I'm a psychiatrist, and I will admit when someone describes this film to me, my first instinct is to reach for the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Manual for Psychiatry. And this channel is SlowReel, where we watch films slowly. So, Lars and the Real Girl is a film that surprised me quite a lot because it depicts healing in a different way and in a way that most mental health professionals don't address delusion. And this movie was requested by a viewer, so honestly, thank you, thank you, thank you. I would never have picked it myself, and I loved the movie. Now, I will be talking about the whole film, including the ending, so if you haven't seen it, really, you have to watch it. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes, and it will change how you think about other people. And then, of course, come back here. So, Lars is painfully shy, he lives in his brother's garage, he even flinches when people touch him. And as the movie shows, he eats dinner alone rather than join his family. But he's not stupid or dangerous, he's just sealed something inside of him. Something that closed off a long time ago, and he has been maintaining that closure very carefully ever since. But then Bianca arrives, and Lars just lights up. He introduces her to his sister-in-law Karen with complete sincerity. He takes her to church, he wheels her to family dinners, he talks to her about his day. He is, by I would say, every observable measure in a relationship. One that exists entirely inside his own mind, with, of course, a silicone love doll stand-in, doing the work of the other person. Now, here's the thing about Lars's delusion. Bianca is a safe choice because she can't reject him, and she can't leave. Also, she can't be disappointed in him, or hurt by him, or maybe even need something that he can't give her. She asks nothing and offers everything. So, basically, for someone who finds real intimacy terrifying, she's the perfect solution, right? When Lars's family turns to their town doctor, Dagmar, she tells the family something that sounds counterintuitive, but as the movie shows, it turns out to be exactly right. She tells them to play along. Don't confront the delusion, don't argue. Just let Lars have Bianca, because there must be a reason why he created her, right? And when he is ready on his own terms, he will let her go. Now, what interested me, what seemed very interesting, is that the whole town agreed. It's like it's the most strangest things I've ever seen in a film, and I guess that's what makes the film special, because the whole community, like the church, the workplace, the department store even, they treat Bianca like a real person. She gets a job, she joins school committees, and people actually ask about her from Lars. Now, it sounds absurd, right? Well, the other side of it is also an act of extraordinary collective love. Because the whole town, by accepting Bianca, are keeping Lars safe. They are showing Lars their love. They are creating a safe enough space for Lars, for him to do whatever internal work he needs to do without all the pressure of being seen as broken while he does it. And I don't think many communities do that for one person. So maybe that's why this movie is so special, because we don't really have that, do we? Now, if this film sounds weird, it absolutely is, but then you should subscribe because this channel also gets weird. Okay, let's move on. So, halfway through the film, Dagmar, the doctor, asks Lars a question that cuts straight to it. She asks what he thinks love is. And Lars says love is when you put someone else first, when you would do anything for them, when you would give up what you want so they can have what they need. And it sounds right, but it's also completely wrong for Lars, because what he's describing is love as self-erasure. Love, basically love where you disappear so the other person can exist. So as in Bianca's case, she doesn't need anything, and that's the point. Lars can love her endlessly without ever having to be loved back, and without ever having to be seen or being vulnerable. He has found a way to perform the motions of intimacy without any of the risk. And that's his survival strategy. Another thing that does this is anxiety. It finds workarounds. It builds alternative routes around the things that feel too exposed. And sometimes those routes look like isolation. Sometimes they look like overwork or perfectionism, or never quite committing to anything. For me, anxiety looked like thinking I had become a homebody, like I had always preferred staying in. What anxiety did was that it rewrote my personality, so gradually I stopped noticing it. I stopped remembering that I once liked traveling and going to places and meeting my friends and going even to a cafe. The avoidance became my identity. Now, in this movie, Lars's version, of course, is more vivid, but I would argue that the mechanism is identical. Now, in the end of the movie, Bianca gets sick. What might have happened is that Lars decides somewhere in his mind that she is sick. So he starts talking about her health declining, and the town goes along with it. They visit her, they bring her flowers. They actually call an ambulance and everyone goes along with it. Because the doctor, Dagmar, she was right. Lars created Bianca when he needed her, and now has come the time where he doesn't need her anymore. He's ready to let her go. And as we see, he could only let her go on his own terms. When he had done that internal work, that delusion was like holding space for or letting him do that internal work. In a clinical setting, we would call this process-led rather than outcome-led. So you don't push someone toward the ending, you help them create the conditions for them to find the outcome. And Lars's town did this without knowing this clinical word. They just loved him and supported him through everything. Now, when Bianca dies, Lars, of course, cries, everyone in the town gathers, and everyone mourns this episode of Lars's life. And then Lars asks a real woman if she would like to go for a walk. That shows that he's ready now, and he did that all by himself with all the support of his community. So perhaps deep down this movie wants to make us think how many people in our lives are doing their own version of this. Is there someone holding something that looks strange from the outside? Something maybe we don't understand? Maybe something that would be easy to push back against and make them change themselves. And also, how many of those people just need someone to go along with it for a while, to create that safety that Lars also had, so they can do that inside work. So the town in this movie, they of course they know Bianca is a doll, they don't have that delusion, but they have made a collective decision that Lars matters more than the discomfort of playing along. And in the movie, it seems so easy, right? But actually, it's a harder decision than it sounds. Like they are pretending a doll is a real person, and that takes some big effort, right? And I know this exact scenario probably won't happen in real life, but if it were to happen, then I think most communities wouldn't be that supportive. Of course, there will be, but to get the whole town together, that is something special. And I think it's important to know that healing happens on its own timeline. If we push it, we break the container, we might make it worse. But if we hold that long enough, that, well, delusion, yes, if we hold it long enough, then the person finds their own way out, just as Lars did. He just needed someone to sit with him while he figured it out. Now, if you're interested, then you can leave a comment down below. Has anyone supported you like this? Have they given you the time to letting you figure something out in your own time without pushing you? It doesn't have to be as extreme as Lars's case, but just have you had someone next to you give you the time to heal? Like actual time. So leave a comment. As I've said before, I love this channel. I love the comments you leave. I love answering to them. I love thinking about them. So if you want to, you can leave a comment. If you don't want to, then just think of it on your own. Has someone given you that time, or have you given someone that time? Or can you give someone that time? Yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Okay, yes, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you're welcome to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And yes, I will see you next week with the next video. Bye.